And to kick off this course properly, now that you understand the difference between UI UX, let's talk about the very basic rules of design, which are design principles. And to understand design principles is to understand how and when we can use those rules, how and when we can break those rules, and which one of them we can use more than once, every single time, and from all of them, what are those that we can put together at the same time. Okay, starting with balance. So pretty straightforward. It's when you have the feeling or you actually looking into the screen and seeing if something is properly balanced or not. So as an example, we have two screens here. From those two screens, which one do you think it's balanced? Number one, right? Because we have here everything same size, same padding, same alignment. Number two, we can see that some buttons here are not all the way up to the far right. This one here is a little taller than it used to be, so it feels weird. So when you look into some screens and you see the elements are not equal, you feel that this, like, there's something different, there's something wrong, so it's unbalanced. Design principle number two, emphasis. Again, and you're gonna see this, all the names of the principles are very straightforward. So with the emphasis, we have here, like, for example, in the first screen, the messages there are unread, they're bold, they have the red dot. All the others are less preeminent on the screen, so it has less emphasis. So on the right here, what is you look at right away? The 1, 2, and 3. It's the rating system for this particular dating app, and you see the Sparker in orange as well in the nav bar because it's some premium features of the app. So we give emphasis to that. Third, movement. Again, pretty basic. So imagine if this timeline here was straight from starting at the bottom, go straight all the way up. It kind of like boring. So with this example here, we have the idea of like a continuous path, but like there's some learning to do. There's not like straightforward. You have to accomplish those challenges. So we have the locks where you add, etc. So that's how you add movement. It's not just adding movement per se with animations. Sometimes you can show movement in a screen from multiple elements because they have this, again, for the lack of a proper word, movement. Sometimes you see blog pages where the images are not on top of each other. They're like, you have a card with the image on the left and copy on the right. The next is inverted. You have the image on the right and the copy on the left. So you kind of create this movement where like you need to read one here, another here, another here. It's not just animations. Proportion, again, pretty straightforward. So in this example here, every boxes, every titles are the same. So everything is proportionate in the screen. So you have the sidebar, you have the squares here, have like all the elements. And if it's something out of proportion, it would be something like this, where you have like the words with different font sizes. The values here are like a lot bigger than the card. Imagine fit here a six-figure amount of money. it won't fit in this card, right? So it's out of proportion. White space, my favorite. I think since I started designing back in 2003, white space is like almost like my signature. All my designs have a huge amount of white space. So here is a comparison between the blue screen is the previous, or was the current version when I jumped into this project, and then uh, with my designs. And white space is not just like white background. So you can see here on the nav bar, I don't have a shape around the icons. I have just the icons. Again, at the top bar of the header, I don't have a background there. I don't have a shape there. I have just like icon, logo at the center, icon. Everything breathes. Everything like has its own space. Of course, because this is in a white background, it helps a lot. But you get the idea. Again, another example here of previous version and my redesign. So like on the blue screen here, you can see that the menu is like condensed, is cluttered, is the fonts are small, and it feels outdated. You don't see enough space in between the elements. The drawer doesn't doesn't go over, and it also doesn't give enough space at the header. Like see how it touches here the status bar. So again, give it space to the elements to be identified. Like it's it the interface should breathe, right? uh, Contrast, and contrast can be color, can be size, can be shapes, can be different ways. Like in this case here, I have contrast between dark and light theme, but I also have contrast with colors. So like because I'm using a light theme here in this one, my titles are in black, my links, my hints are with the golden accent. On the other screen, it's inverted, so we have enough contrast with colors, with sizing, so you can see that the filter and the sort of the grid, the icons are smaller, a little bit smaller than the icons from the navbar, because navbar is more important than the filters. So you have those contrasts. Hierarchy. Hierarchy is probably all together with the next one, which is information architecture, uh, uh, is probably something that we're missing a lot nowadays. So you don't know where to look. You don't know how to identify the chunks of information in the interfaces. So here are two good examples. Like we have the title bigger than the content. So you have the hierarchy, like title H1, content, paragraph, body, whatever tag you have in convention. On the other screen, you have the back button at the top, then you have the here image, then you have a small piece of content about like the how many minutes it takes for you to read this content, then the paragraph, then the navigation. So everything falls into shape, like respecting each other's hierarchy. This is super important, and this is something that lots of young designers, junior designers, people who are transitioning careers need to understand. Hierarchy is super important. Rhythm, again, uh, it's almost close to balance, because you need to feel the rhythm of the page. You need to understand how to guide the user with your elements. So here in this Gurbani app, almost like a Spotify for Gurbani, like it's an Indian script. So like you have favorites, small pieces. Recently, read bigger cards, top daily, smaller cards in a different organization, then in a different layout. So again, everything is balanced because the elements respect itself, like the sizes, the tones, etc. But you create rhythm because you have your favorites, recently, and top. You have visual hierarchy because you have the favorites, probably the most important for you, then the recent, everything that you read recently, and then the top daily. On the other screen, you have uh, the three strings here that the user added, and then with a little more padding, then in between those elements, you can see that you have the rest of the list. So you can keep scrolling. You have a separation there, so you create this rhythm of reading patterns. This can be based on the branding guidelines, colors. You have visual elements. Like in this example here, I have the pattern, which is this brush element, because it's part of the brand of the client. It's part of their identity. So we use here to show which menu item is selected, which page you are right now. And you have in the background the top one here, and also at the bottom we have the same brushes on the card, but in smaller pieces. So you create these patterns to identify uh, visual elements, to create brand awareness as well. It's super helpful. Again, we're lacking this nowadays. Everything now is white, light gray, pure, no backgrounds, no elements. So like back into good old days or early 2000s, we were seeing patterns all over. Variety. Variety is where you show a mix of elements in an interface. So we have here a card, we have here like a vertical menu, we have a horizontal menu, but all of those are not messy, are not cluttered. Everything has its own place. Same in the other screen. We have the dial to add the minutes. Then we have three options to create the intensity of the activity, easy, medium, hard. Then we have the tags to identify which one is which. Like I did a 35-minute treadmill here. And then I have log exercise. So there's a variety of interactions in one screen, but everything respects each other's space. Everything respects each other's hierarchy, importance on the screen. So like it's, I know there's a lot to digest, but feel free to come back to this beginning of the lesson to read again. Have unity. Unity is also super important to help with balance, to help with hierarchy, to help with variety, to help with rhythm. And it's basically like a group of elements together to represent some chunk of the content. So in this case here, my balances, I have card info, I have goals and rewards. Quick services, I have a small menu of quick services. Then I have some pieces of banners to, I don't know, advertise something. Then I have my nav bar. In the other screen, I have the progress bar, I have the title, I have the lesson, and then I have the actions. So like you can see the elements separately, but because of the unity that is applied here, you can totally see my balance. Boom, quick services, banners, progress, lesson, actions, right? And again, like I mentioned, I know it's a lot to digest, but the design principles are super important. It's the foundation of UI design. Okay, uh, so take a minute, breathe, uh, drink some water. You can sleep on this lesson, and go back anytime and start to applying this to your projects. Okay? See you next lesson.